The inspiring life of Martin Luther King Jr. Did you know that Martin Luther King Jr. was the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize at the age of just 35? His words and actions changed the course of history, sparking a revolution that reshaped the fight for civil rights in America. Early life. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He grew up in a time when racial segregation was deeply rooted in American society. From a young age, Martin experienced the sting of racism, but he was also inspired by the teachings of his father, a Baptist preacher, and the principles of nonviolence from leaders like Mahatma Gandhi. As a boy, Martin excelled in school, skipping 2 grades and entering college at just 15 years old. He graduated with a degree in sociology from Morehouse College and later earned a doctorate in theology from Boston University. During this time, he developed his belief that love and nonviolence could conquer hate and injustice. The Civil Rights Movement. In 1955, Martin Luther King Jr. became the leader of the Montgomery Bus Boycott after Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white man on a segregated bus. For over a year, African Americans in Montgomery refused to use public buses, crippling the bus system. Their peaceful protest ended with a Supreme Court ruling that declared segregation on public buses unconstitutional. From that moment, King emerged as the face of the civil rights movement. He led countless marches, delivered powerful speeches, and stood firm in the face of threats, arrests, and violence. Mind-blowing achievements. I Have a Dream speech, 1963. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his legendary I Have a Dream speech during the March on Washington in front of over 250,000 people. His call for racial equality and justice is one of the most iconic moments in history. Civil Rights Act, 1964. King played a major role in pushing for the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed segregation in public places and banned discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Nobel Peace Prize, 1964. At the age of 35, King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his commitment to nonviolent resistance. He used the prize money to further the fight for civil rights. Selma to Montgomery marches, 1965. King led the famous marches from Selma to Montgomery, which brought attention to the fight for African American voting rights. This resulted in the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a landmark law that prohibited racial discrimination in voting. Fair Housing Act, 1968. Even after his assassination, King's efforts led to the passing of the Fair Housing Act, which banned discrimination in housing sales and rentals based on race, religion, or national origin. Assassination and legacy. On April 4, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, while supporting a strike by sanitation workers. His death shocked the world, but his legacy lived on. He became a symbol of hope, equality, and justice. Why Martin Luther King Jr. matters. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just fight for the rights of African Americans. He stood for the rights of all people. His belief in nonviolence and his dream of a world free from hatred and division continue to inspire millions. His life is a reminder that one person, armed with courage and a commitment to justice, can truly change the world.